So Entreport's probably 12 months old. Like we had Office Autopilot. So when I talk about Office Autopilot, that was the version before Entreport. I got introduced to that about 5 years ago. It gave me the ability to learn how to actually create a database. I knew I had to create a database, I just didn't know what to use. I came across Entreport, what is now Entreport, and it's basically helped me scale up with both our businesses. It's been able to communicate with different segments of our database at any time, and to do it in a structured way that I've got full control of it. All right, so Maddi and Morgan are out from the States. You came out in, I don't know, we're just sort of flying by the seat of our pants now, aren't we? When did you come out to Australia? April this year. So the first delegates to come out from the States, they're achieving amazing success in America. The first two delegates to come out to Australia, they're based in Sydney, and now they're spreading the Entreport message. All right, they're very selective which groups they go to. So we're very, very lucky to have them here with us today. So what we normally do, guys, for those of you who haven't been here before, we always like to stand up, introduce our speakers, because we're very grateful for their time. So I'd like to introduce you to Maddi and Morgan.
Good morning. How's everyone feeling today?
Great.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us today at Breakthrough for Business. We're really excited to be here. I'm Morgan Menzies, and this is Madeline Nakashima-Conway. And today we're going to be talking to you about how to get smart when it comes to attracting leads, engaging your list to keep them active, and also how to read your room, how to read the audience once you've got them on your list. Our jobs at Entreport are basically the two Australian ambassadors, and essentially our role has been to work one-on-one with different entrepreneurs to help them strategize and successfully implement our software to scale their business. So automation is really a huge part of that. Having systems in place before you grow your business is extremely important, and it's a key element to success. So let's set the scene. These are some common things that we see and we've been dealing with our clients for a long time. Common mistakes. People are visiting your site, but they're not opting in. So today we're going to talk about how you can change that. People are coming to your site, but they're just bouncing away, and you don't have any way to know who they were or remarket to them after that. The next element is that they're not engaged. Maybe you've got a list, you've been building that list for a long time, but you're just sending emails out to them at random, and they're not engaged. They're just opting out, and you're losing those leads. And the last thing is there's no differentiation or no reporting in your system. The reason that's so important is because you can't treat every lead the same way. They're at different stages in their commitment to you. So you really have to know how to market the right way to the right people. So what's to gain from using this automation? Number one, you're going to get opt-ins. You're going to follow the strategy, and you're going to start collecting information right off the bat so you can market to these people in the way that you want. The next thing is you'll be able to build strong, long-lasting relationships with these leads. So you'll be able to display your brand in the way that you want to be recognized. And the last thing is you'll be able to monitor engagement successfully with them and qualify them over time. So you'll have segmentation within your database, and you'll be able to tell who's who and market the right way to the right people. So these are the funnels that we're going to go over today. And these are all from our real-life experience with other successful entrepreneurs. We'll go over some use cases along the way that we've had with clients. So we've got proven strategies for turning these visitors into opt-ins, so capturing their information. We're going to keep a highly engaged list, people that are very interested and committed to you over time, and eventually turn them into paying customers. And the last thing is, again, reading the room. So understanding what your list wants from you, understanding their needs, and delivering those.
All right, so like Morgan said, there's some really easy things that you can do, simple systems you can put in place to see huge results. And we've seen these work with our thousands of clients and business owners that we've brought from starting out up into larger scale businesses. So how many of you guys right now have a website? All right, it's almost everyone. How many of you guys have some way to capture your leads on that website that's not taking their payment, like an opt-in form? Okay, so some of you guys. So right now you have this website, but a lot of times people aren't getting to engage their client before they actually make the sale. So you obviously get their information when you're taking their payment, but sometimes people are coming to your site and you're losing them. Even if you do have an opt-in form, maybe people aren't always filling it out. And that's really hard because those are the best leads to have. They're people who cared enough to actually reach out to you to, get on your website, and then maybe if they drop out, that's like lost sales and lost revenue. So it's such a waste. So instead of hoping that your site alone is going to bring people to make the decision to purchase, we want to figure out a way to capture their information right then and there so that we can persuade them to then go on and make a sale. So you'll want to deliver the value first. As you guys know, these days there's so many different options out there for different kinds of products, services that people can use. So they have a lot of choice on similar services at all the time. So you have to prove your value to them before they're going to end up putting down their card. But it's really not only that. People are pretty reluctant these days to even opt into mailing lists. Everyone's been harassed by the mailing list that they don't want to be on, getting unsubscribes, having people share their leads. So you really need to prove your value before you even get their information by giving them more than you're asking for in return. And then from there, you can market to them, show them what kind of information they'll be receiving if they end up becoming a customer, and you'll be able to prove yourself. So we have 3 different ways that you can make that a reality. So we have content, and I'll go more into depth on each of these, but content, podcasts and videos, and freebie offers. So first we have our content here. This is like blogs or articles. So you'll see a lot of people doing these, some better than others. But the idea behind this is to put in relevant information right there on the homepage so that people can get that information for free and will want to learn more. So you want to hook them in with relevant industry-specific content right there on your blog, your Facebook page, wherever you have people seeing you for the first time. So this is your first chance to impress them. You want to do frequent updates on this information because sometimes people will come back multiple times before they end up opting into your list. Pretty much you just want to give them a taste of what they can expect from your newsletter, convince them that they're interested, and then you can convince them after they opt in that they like you enough to purchase. So we have a really good example here of a client who does that super well. Chris Carr, she has Crazy Sexy Wellness, which is like a health and wellness brand. So she has a bunch of different blog articles that she updates all the time. They're really catchy, they're pretty short. There's not a ton of content, but it really shows people exactly what they're going to be getting if they sign up to her newsletter. It literally says that in her opt-in form. So this form is going to be on the side next to the blog. It's going to be below the articles. If someone clicks on it to see more, they're going to get this. There's going to be opt-in forms that say, dig in this content, sign up for the updates. It's free. So it tells them exactly what to expect. Just really short and sweet, just asking for their first name and email, not their address or anything that could, freak them out. And then it says sign up. So once a client will sign up or a lead will sign up to her newsletter, she'll be able to start marketing to them. And then based on their engagement, we'll start trying to push them toward actual paid services. So next, we have our podcasts and our videos. So these are really awesome. Podcasts are extremely popular right now, as I'm sure a lot of you guys know. It just depends, different consumers prefer different kinds of information delivered in different ways. So podcasts are a really awesome one. Subscribe to our podcast right here. We have another client, Eben Pagan, who owns Get Altitude, which is, a business building website. And they have a subscribe to our podcast button here. And so this is going to be in various places around the website. Obviously free as well. People can sign up, and then he'll get their information and can start marketing to them from there. Videos, a good way to kind of build a relationship and start building that trust with the client right at the beginning, showing your face, talking to them directly. So that's a really awesome way as well. And then webinars, whether that's live or recorded. A webinar is a great way for people to opt in. A lot of times people want to hear about that or want to get a recording later. So they'll opt into your webinar and you can start marketing to them from there. There's a lot of good services for webinars, and if you guys are interested, come and talk to us. We're happy to refer you out to some. But these are going to be a really valuable technique, and you can do sort of industry-specific information, or you can, co-host with someone else who's well-known that you know in the industry as well to draw in their audience. So a lot of good collaboration can go on there. So finally, we have our freebie offers, which might be the best option of all, because these are totally free to deliver, and they're super effective. So we have our ebooks, free downloadable files, white papers about your business. Depending on what your service is, you could offer, a free call or a free quote, a free consultation. This kind of information is going to be totally specific to what your business is, but it can be really helpful because a lot of times people want free things, so they're way more willing to give out their information if they think they're getting something immediately in return. So for instance here, we have a client called Learning Herbs. So they have totally physical business. They're selling herbs and spices to clients, and they have to ship those. So what they do in order to offer a free kind of scalable freebie is they have a free spices and herbs chart. So they ask for their information, just an email address. They opt in here, and immediately you're going to get this email. Hello, so a little bit of content, and then a download link. So that person gets, instant gratification. They can start engaging. They'll start reading more about their business, and it's just a really great, scalable first impression. Another client who uses us and uses freebies is Liesl Rigsby. So she's the energetic matchmaker. She does relationship coaching for women, and she does a lot of one-on-one coaching or paid courses where they'll be working one-on-one with her. So obviously this is a pretty personal thing. So what she does is give out an audio recording of herself as well as a downloadable guide. So this is an example, it's a sample actually from one of her courses, her membership courses that she'll be offering. So they get a taste of exactly what they're going to be expecting from her. So after they opt in here, she'll be able to start mailing them. And what she does is she'll start mailing them then to get on one of her webinars. From there, if they end up attending the webinar or signing up, then she'll start marketing her paid services. So it's just a great way to get a foot in the door and start building that relationship. Because in order to get the kind of conversion rates that you guys want, you're going to want to engage with your contacts over a long term before you ask them for anything monetary in return. So pick your offer wisely. If you guys are going to be offering a freebie, you need to think about what you can offer your new leads to show them why you're great. So obviously this is so specific to your business. You guys know what you offer, you know what you have to offer. A lot of times you don't get the chance to show that to people, so this is your chance. Think about also the scale. So if you have, thousands of people opting in already or too many that you could, actually pick up the phone and call, then you don't want to offer a free phone call. But if you have, much more of a small scale, high value customer type business, then it's probably worth it to spend 30 minutes on the phone with them, especially if you're going to try to chase them down later and get in touch with them one-on-one. So take a moment to discuss. In a second, we'll turn on the music, and you guys can just talk a little bit at your tables about what kind of thing you can offer as a freebie. We're going to be going through a more in-depth example in a moment, so just come up with an idea in your head so you can keep that in mind as we go through the steps. Okay, awesome. Does anyone have an idea that they want to share with the group? Anything they could offer, and a little bit about what they do as a business?
A freemium would be a content creation machine.
Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome.
I'll show them how to do it.
What's your business?
Web development and event management.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a perfect example. Anyone else? Okay, cool. Well, offering a freebie is just a really great scalable way. As your business grows, you're not always going to be able to hit every lead as soon as they come in. A lot of people right now would be using systems where, maybe an email address comes in and they get a notification of a new lead, but what you really need to be doing is having an automated system to both draw them in and follow up with them. So you'll need 3 things to do this. One, a page with an opt-in form, whether that be your blog or your homepage or a landing page, anything that has an opt-in form, as well as the relevant content that's going to draw them in. 2, you're going to need, that should say 1, 2, 3, you're going to need an email to deliver the content. So the downloadable link or the video or the link to register the webinar, anything like that. And then you'll need a follow-up sequence. So the follow-up sequence is going to be where you can then market and follow up with the client after that initial point of contact to keep them engaged, and like we said, start building that relationship and trust so that they're more willing to see your value and end up as a customer. So here's an example that we actually use at Ontraport as a freebie offer on our website. So to draw in some of our ideal customers, people who are owning their own businesses, who are interested in email marketing and are ready to kind of take that to the next level, we have our Getting Your Email Delivered guide. So over here we have this page on our website. Download this free guide to discover why your emails may not be getting delivered. We're going to have a little bit about it, what they can expect. Don't get marked as spam by your users, build your email reputation, get people to add you to their email list, and we tell them what to do, the exact call to action to get that. Just ask for their first name and their email. At most, ask for those two things. You know, the less information you ask, the more likely people are to opt in. First name's great because then you can personalize using a merge field, so it says like, hi, first name. But we'll touch more on that later as well. So over here, I'll just kind of have a little map that goes through as well so you can see how the funnel looks, and it's going to keep getting built on throughout this. So right now we just have, you know, the opt-in page where that's located, and then the form. So as soon as I fill that out, I'm going to get this email sent to my inbox. So getting your email delivered guide is here. So already awesome first experience, you know, you're delivering what you promised them immediately. It's personalized, hi Madeline, and then it has a little bit of content, building some rapport with the client, and then down here the link to download the guide. So now the map looks like this. We have a landing page, we have our form, and it adds them to a sequence, like an autoresponder, where we'll then drip out the content from there. So we have immediately, day 0, a here's your guide email that gets sent to the new lead. So next step, we're going to use some automation to personalize this a little bit more, and we want to follow up with our clients differently depending on how much they engage with us from here. So as you see, we send this email out to everyone, but it splits off from there. So some people are going to take the next step and click on that link, but some people are going to fall off. Even though they just asked you for that guide and they clearly were interested enough to submit that form, they still didn't click on the link. They still didn't read it. So this is why it's so important to have a system that lets you see what your contacts are doing so that you can follow up with them the right way. You know, if they didn't end up reading it, they just missed it, or, you know, were busy at that moment, you don't want to send them an email that's a follow-up because they haven't actually gotten that content from you yet and you've already missed that first chance to impress them. So we have some automation here that'll check. The system will say, okay, 2 days later, if they've clicked that link, that download link, 0 times, then we're going to send them a don't forget about your guide email, which will send that link to them again, try to follow up with them. It'll have a different subject line. It's your second chance. However, if they did click on that link, we're going to ask them how they liked it. So how did you like it? People are also going to be impressed that you know what they did, that you're calling them out on it. It shows that you care a little bit more, even though this is all automatically running without you having to do anything. If they did click on the link, we're going to add them to a new sequence. We're going to take them off of this because they did what we want. We're going to add them to a new sequence called our engaged lead sequence. And we'll talk later, but like Morgan touched on before, we want to treat our leads differently because the ones who are interacting with you and engaging with you can handle a little more heavy marketing, a faster pace than those who are reluctant to even click on the link of the guide they asked for. So here's an example of what that's going to look like within Ontraport, just how you set something like that up. Super simple, 2 days after, you can even pick the time of day and the time zone for when it should check and see if they've clicked on that link yet. We'll say if they've clicked the here's your guide email, the first link in there equal to 0 times, then we send them a don't forget about your free guide email. And we'll have the same kind of one for if they did click it. So then we go on from there and we pretty much repeat that same step 2 more times. So we give them 2 more chances. Day 5, we say if they've clicked on the link in don't forget about your guide or the here's your guide email, if they've clicked on neither of them, then we send them it's your final chance. But if they have clicked on that at any point, anytime they download the guide, they're going to be removed and sent to the engaged lead sequence. So this is a perfect example of how so far you've had no personal contact with the client, but that new lead's already going to be impressed and is already going to have a couple interactions with you. Building that relationship, still you've asked them for nothing but actually reading the valuable product that you're delivering. And then finally down here we have a sequence. If they still, after 9 days, haven't ended up clicking on that link or reading that guide, we're going to add them to a nurture sequence, which is going to slowly drip out content to keep them engaged, keep you in their mind, maybe once a month, maybe bi-monthly emails that get sent out to them. Definitely different from the engaged lead sequence, not asking them to buy anything, but maybe just asking them to read some more content that you think is applicable. Here's how that's going to look all put together. Visual editor, you see it's like a campaign builder where you can build out your different steps and string them together in a sequential order. Once this starts running, you'll be able to see statistics on all those too, when they last ran, how many times. You'll be able to click on them open, see how many people are opening or clicking on each of those links, open rates, percentages, all of that.
Why was that important? Ask questions now of Maddi. So if you need to just pause back and say, why do we do that, or what was the benefit of that? Ask the question now.
We'll only try and attract them into that opt-in form if they haven't taken action. So say, for example, my business, if I have book a facial imaging skin assessment here, and they're already going to book an appointment, I don't care to necessarily capture their information through that report. Do I then just add it from our database once they become a client? Because obviously when people call in, I will add them always to our database for marketing, or do I still try and capture them through both?
No, I mean, if it totally depends on your business and your own marketing strategy, like Stephen was saying. But if you have, a physical business where you're also going to be entering people manually who book an appointment directly through you, then you would set up maybe like an internal form, an opt-in form that you'd use that would then mark them as a contact. You can also set up as many kind of if-then rules within those funnels as you want. So you could say, if they fill out this form and they're not marked as a past customer or a current customer, then we offer them this different funnel. But if they, sign up for this free facial, but they've already gotten it, so they're not eligible, well, then we'll send them to a different funnel that gives them a new option. So you can definitely personalize that kind of depending on whatever you want.
Can you actually put a time sequence on there as well? So if instead of getting an instant response, can you delay that response by a couple of hours?
Yeah, absolutely. You can delay it by minutes, hours, number of days. You could also say that they're added, but then they're not going to get any email until it's December 1st, and everyone gets that email. You have a ton of options to personalize that funnel however you want.
Sorry, Maddi. And that's what I wanted to interrupt you guys, because we need to shake up what's in our mind about what is possible. Because is this new to anyone in the room? Who's looking at this going, this is amazing? Can this really happen? Who's saying that at the moment? Yeah? Because this is a vehicle you can basically tell it to do anything, can't you? And it will do it for you. Yeah. So it's basically, if your customer does this, you can actually send them into different areas. You can set it within the machine to do it for you. So I know there's a little bit of confused looks in the room, but just know, we don't know how a phone works. We don't need to know how a phone works, we just need to know what it does. Do you understand? Yeah?
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, and we'll also be offering you guys, we'll touch on this more later, but we also have more information on all these funnels we're going over, so you guys can get those for free, at the end. Just let us know. Yeah.
Are there any stats or guides on the days that are popular to open emails?
There is online.
There are, but really every market is different. So it's not usually good to just take someone's word on it. You really want to test it out with your own market. So we're going to get into split testing in just a minute here and go over how that'll work as well.
So if you know that open rates on a weekend aren't great, but someone opts in on the weekend, and then you've got to, hey, in 7 days send this, it's going to send it on a Saturday. Can you put an if-then in and say, don't send it on those particular days?
Absolutely.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, one thing that's really great about our sequences is you have the ability to choose specific times of day, specific days of the week, or specific actual dates, like February 14th. And you can space them out as well. So you can say, I want the first email on the first day immediately, and then the next email not until 9 a.m. on Tuesday. Yes?
If somebody opts out somewhere in the system, can you set it up to send them an email in about 2 months' time or something?
Well, if they opt out, by rule, they are not allowed to be mass mailed, so the automation wouldn't be able to do that. But you can send a notification to your team to reach out to them.
Yeah, we can always show you, if you want to come back at the end, we can always show you how to kind of set up like a running list to see everyone who unsubscribed, and so you can go check that out later and follow up whenever you want.
Any more questions before we move on to the next portion? Yes.
And can the automation also, so for me, I would need to make an appointment, they would need to make an appointment with me in CV. It's not selling at that moment. Can go to a calendar for them to go to book an appointment automatically?
Absolutely. So what you could do is redirect that form to go directly to your calendar link. We use Full Slate to schedule our bookings. All right, so we just talked about how to attract people and how to get them to initially opt in the first place. Now we want to focus on how we're going to engage those leads over time. Because so far you haven't really gotten any value out of them, you're just demonstrating your value to them, saying, hey, know me, like me, trust me, and then become a customer. So a quotable moment here. With all the new leads you'll be generating, you'll need to interest them to maintain them and convert them into happy paying customers. So one of the items you can do to make that happen is diversify your funnel. Right here, we've got a screenshot of a sequence in Ontraport. And it's just a sequence, a seamless drip of content over time. A lot of entrepreneurs will make the mistake that a sequence is just emails, but that's not necessarily the case. And you can do a lot of other things to make these a little bit more engaging. So for example, this is a 6-step sequence, and we start with an email, but then here we've got two-way SMS, we've got tasks to call, we've got physical mailing, and we've got fulfillment lists that will maybe fire off to a warehouse and we'll send them a gift. The next thing we want to think about is your current funnel. Is it as engaging as you think it is? So try to take an unbiased look at it right now. When you create a great funnel, it's born from keeping the end user in mind. So think about all those lists that you've been on for years and you haven't unsubscribed from yet. There has to be a reason that you're still on them. I went through mine, and what I found is that the content has been really relevant to the interests that provoked me to get on those lists in the first place. So you've got to keep your information relevant. The other thing is they weren't extremely salesy. Yeah, I'd hear about the new promotions that were coming up, but it wasn't selling the same information all of the time. I felt like I was getting value out of those lists. Additionally, design matters. So when you come up with your email templates, you want them to look good. You want to make sure the images are showing up in the right way. And when you're coding an email, there can be issues with that. So a great resource that we use internally is litmus.com. That's litmus.com. And that will allow you to test your email code to see how it's going to display across all email service providers, all the different browsers, and the different operating systems and devices where that email could be received. So here's a use case of one of our friends and clients, Christo Hall and Francisca Isoli.
Do any of you guys know him? Yeah.
Awesome, yeah. So if you don't know them, they're up in Narrabeen. They're a small business marketing agency. And their funnel starts with an initial low barrier to entry event where people can come and see if they like their product, and at that point they can upgrade to a full-time membership. When they first got started, though, at their first live event, they had 4 attendees. And that was especially disappointing because they had had more people actually pay and register, and they didn't show up on the day of the event. So they had to take a step back and look at the funnels that they were using and see what they could possibly do to get people more excited about this event and keep them excited even after the initial purchase. So they did this with 2 different funnels, and they actually called them the Excite sequences. And once they implemented them, these are the results they got. So before, they went from $10,000 a month in revenue to $100,000 a month in revenue over the course of a year. They went from only 500 clients to 1,100 clients. And from that measly 4 event attendees, they got up to 150 guaranteed event attendees at their entry-level events. That's pretty major. And the other really cool thing about these results is you'll see that although their customers only about doubled, they did 10 times the amount in revenue. So what that tells us is they not only increase their customers, but they increase the lifetime value of each of those customers by getting to know them, by keeping them excited, and then by upselling them on other products and services. So do you guys want to see the sequences? Awesome. All right, so the first one here is the promotional sequence. And whenever you're getting up to a promotion, you don't want to put it together at the last minute. You really want to take a step back, look at your whole year, and see when you're going to be doing your product launches. When does it make sense for your market to have those new products in front of them? Then you have to think, okay, how far in advance are we going to start promoting that sequence? This one that they used was 2 weeks in advance, beginning to the promotion. So they had the form up, but they really started promoting it 2 weeks before the event. So 14 days out, they sent the first email. And the email is just minimal content. It's using exciting languages, but it's nothing too crazy. Just giving them the facts about what's going on, and usually linking to a video that will really sell the product. Then 7 days out, the second email is fired off. And that's going to be a repeat of the same content, and just a link back to the video saying, hey, just in case you missed this, here's that information again. We've got this really exciting thing coming up. Then 3 days before, same content, letting them know they still have time. And then 24 hours before the event. And then on the last day when registration is closing or the product promotion is ending, you send them one more reminder, hey, closing sale, this is going away soon. And in between these, you can actually have rule steps that will determine whether or not they've purchased. And if they have, then bump them off the sequence. So it's pretty cool. It'll be very responsive. The next sequence was the post-sale sequence. So why would we need a post-sale sequence? They already bought. The reason is you want to keep them excited. You don't want them to feel buyer's remorse right after they buy your premium product. Spend a lot of money and then they think, oh my goodness, do I really need this, or should I take advantage of that 90-day money-back guarantee? So the first thing you're going to do is immediately send them a thank you email. And in this thank you email, it's usually a good idea to include a bonus offer. So let's say you were selling a bicycle. You'd include maybe a 6-month warranty on that bicycle. So hey, we're also going to throw in this bonus offer for you. And in that same email, you're going to include a testimonial. You're going to show them the raving fan and what they have to look forward to as a new purchaser of your product or service. Then on day 3, send them an FAQ, something they need to know about this product or service that you're offering that people are often asking. And at that point, you can also include referral links. So if you've got a referral program, send them their link and say, hey, here's what else you can earn if you start referring me to your friends. Then on day 5, you're going to send them a check this out article. So you're going to link them back to one of your blogs or podcasts or videos or posts that's in relation to this particular purchase. And that way they'll go there and see what their next steps are. Okay, what do I need to know next about this product? They're still learning. It's not over yet. Their work isn't done. Then on day 9, we're going to offer a downsell product, upsell product, give them the option to purchase something else in addition. So what are their next steps? Again, you want to let them know where they're going after this product purchase. And the last step, as always, is going to be a rule step to put them onto the nurture sequence, to keep them on your list and keep them engaged. So when we're talking about nurturing, what we really want to do is build strong relationships through content and accessibility. So we need good content, we need to keep it topical and relevant, and the clients that really gain traction and scale significantly are always creating new ways to share value and make a difference before asking for anything in return. So again, we're demonstrating our value, we're showing them why we're an authority on this topic, and we're going to build up our relationship with them by giving them what they need. So there's 4 imperatives when you're trying to form a solid following. We touched on these first 2 with Maddi already. So hosting helpful and insightful blog content with frequently updated articles. And even if this is content that's still relevant, what you can do is go back and change the subject lines, change the headers, make them more topical before you send them out again. So for example, there's a couple services you can use to figure out what's trending right now. And those are semrush.com and wordstream.com. They'll tell you what words and what topics are going on right now. So for example, if you had an article on how to increase your sales or how to do quick sales, you could change the subject line and say, how to close a sale in the same amount of time that it takes Ronda Rousey to finish a fight. Then the next thing here is lead capture forms with free ebook and white paper downloads. Again, demonstrating your value, showing them that you can give them something before you're going to ask them to commit to you financially. The third thing here, we've got partnering with other leaders in your field and those who share your audience. So form those partnerships. Reach out to other people in your field. Say, hey, do you want to come do a blog spot for me? Can I come do one for you? Let's do a webinar together on this shared topic. It can only increase your relevance, your visibility, and your authority to make these partnerships. And this isn't something we just preach, we also practice it. So here I've got a screenshot from our YouTube channel. And this is a series we do called Modern Entrepreneur, where our CEO, Landon Ray, sits down with other big business leaders and does interviews. And it's been a huge success in keeping our list engaged. Tip number 4, sharing useful industry-specific content on social networks. So don't just do it through emails and through blogs. Get to where the people are. Go to your audience. Form a Facebook user group. Get on Twitter. Make sure you're staying relevant in the same spheres that they are. And here's an example of one of our clients. He's an automation consultant. And you can see he's sharing information on how to grow your business here. And he's linking to other relevant things that his audience is going to want to know about. All right, let's get tactical. So number 1 thing when you want to stay relevant with your list is split testing. And split testing is just A and B testing. That's going to be testing out different subject lines, testing out different content, different images, different landing pages. And the reason we're going to do this is because we don't want to waste our time sending out content that no one's connecting with. We don't want to do that. You spend a lot of time on your content, so you want to make sure that it's really sticking. And when you test something, then you can scale what has the better reaction, and then you can use that going forward, but you always want to still be improving on that. The next thing we want to do is avoid unsubscribes. So a default setting in a lot of these systems is going to default to having anyone who clicks your unsubscribe link automatically opt out of everything, your entire list. And you don't want to do that. You can actually set it up so they can see the specific funnels they're on and opt out of just specific funnels. And you're just bound to keep people if you give them that option. They can say, hey, I really love the content, but I'm tired of this promotion. I don't want to hear anything more about this. They'll go to that page and just opt out of the one sequence. The next thing is reusing content. You put a lot of time and energy into that content, and you don't want to just send it out once in an email blast and then not be able to use it again because you don't know who's already gotten it. So you can set it up instead on a sequence and have all your new signups go onto that sequence so everyone will benefit from that article that you wrote, and it will continue to serve you over time. The other thing is access to your content and channels beyond email. So all of that content that you're creating and sending out, you should always back it up in a blog. That's a really good way to do it. And additionally, people communicate and learn in different ways, so it's really good to have a video option as well, whether that be your recurring podcast like we talked about, or a YouTube channel, something so that they have different ways to absorb that information from you. So here's an example of one of our favorite Entreport clients. Her name's Marie Forlia. Have you guys heard of her out here? She's pretty awesome. She's an author, and she runs a business program online called B School. She has a list that's in the hundreds of thousands at this point, and they're such a loyal tribe of followers. And she does that through her content. She markets to her contact. I'm on her list because I love everything she produces. Let's take a look at some of these headlines. What should I do with my life? Wait, don't answer that. What to do when you feel useless and alone? So what she's doing here is speaking directly to the pain points and the needs of her market. And she's hitting right home. Imagine if you were up all night crunching the numbers, and then you got this email, and you're thinking, oh, I want to hear what she has to say about this. I'm not alone. I'm in this with other people. It's pretty major, and people love it. And the other really cool thing she does is link to a video for every single one of these articles she creates. She creates a video. And the reason that makes it so powerful is that people go to the page, they watch her video, it feels face-to-face, it feels personal. You get to see her, she's really likable, and it works really well. She's also got amazing segmentation on her list, so she knows how often you're interacting with her, how interested you are, if you've purchased, if you're a repeat customer, and she has it all scheduled and automated to put you on your different funnels depending on those actions. All right.
All right, are you guys still alive and with us?
Questions?
Yeah.
Questions about content, engagement?
Okay, cool. Well, we'll finish up with this for this segment. So spend time on the right leads. So now we've went over how you can draw them in and how you can get your site visitors to become one of your leads that you can market to them, and then some ideas on what kind of marketing tips and tricks you can use to keep them engaged once they're on your list. But still, not the same things are going to work for everyone. Not all leads are equal. So pretty much, you want to be able to see who these people are, how they're engaging with you, similar to how we were going in that very first funnel where we were separating them depending on whether or not they clicked on that download link for the email delivery guide. But you want to be able to do this on a larger scale because different things are going to work for different people. So you want to be able to see who your hottest leads are, the ones that you're going to waste, you don't want to be wasting your one-on-one time following up with people who aren't going to convert for you. You want to spend time warming them up with an automated sequence and then only follow up with them when they're ready to make the purchase. So in order to identify who is the right person to spend your time on, you need an automated system because it would take forever to go through manually and see from a list on who opened what email and then to find their information and call them or anything like that.